So, hi everybody, I'm Marie Jenkins from Advance Your Wellbeing, and we're here for another episode of our second season of The Secret Diary of Marie Jenkins 47 Plus. Now, a lot of people will know this lovely lady because I mention her a lot. She was also on our first season's podcast, and it's the lovely Kathy Scott from Hands On at Work. Hey, Kathy.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm very well, and it's lovely to see you again because previously you lived in Worcestershire and now you've moved to Norfolk. So we do a lot of these virtual chats when we have our catches up, but hopefully I'll get to see you in August when we can travel up, which will be about the same time actually that this episode goes out. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, it would be good to see you.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see you face to face, so that'll be lovely. But anyway, back to today's episode. So we've got an in conversation with, we've changed our format for season two. So I'll just give you a brief introduction to Kathy. So Kathy is the business owner of Hands On of Work, which I've already mentioned, and they provide on-site massage and wellbeing services and packages with a view to making your workplace a great place to work. And she works across the whole of the UK. But she's also a fellow author. Now, Kathy was a massive help to me when I was launching Burnout to Bold, my book. But she's also an award-winning author in her own right. Woohoo! And her book is called Rubbing Shoulders with the Best. And the whole premise of the book is to help massage therapists that are looking to run their own business sort of get help with their marketing and their branding and all of that type of thing. Am I right in thinking that, Kathy?
Oh, yes. Yes. Every sort of aspect, really, of sort of growing your business. But from a personal sort of perspective, really, of what I've come across over the years.
Yeah, yeah. And I had a look on your website actually, because you've got your website for Hands On at Work, and then you've got your website for Rubbing Shoulders with the Best as well.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful picture of you collecting your highly commended award at the Business Book Awards. And that was, when was that? That was fairly recently.
Yes, that was March. Yeah,
Yeah,
March time. Yeah,
fantastic. It's
that was very
brilliant.
exciting.
Yeah, the pictures on the website are fantastic. You look very glamorous.
Thank you.
So now on to today's in conversation with, because you're so experienced in the world of well-being. So I'd like to ask you my first question, and that is, what do you think's new in the world of well-being?
Wow, I had to think about this and I thought, I'm not really sure what you would say is new. I think maybe if you took it from the angle of how perhaps businesses are viewing well-being, because if there's one thing that the pandemic has shown us, and that sort of burnout and stress due to factors of sort of like unrealistic workloads and little mental health support, it's led employees, I think, to think, no, we want more support, or they want to work for businesses who will actually take staff health and well-being seriously. And if they don't get it, then they'll probably look for opportunities elsewhere. So I think it's more perhaps a case of how attitudes may have changed with well-being. It's certainly being talked about a lot, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's definitely gone higher up the agenda, which is good. But time will tell, obviously, whether it's a case of people or employers know that they should be doing something to support their staff, but how many will actually put that into practice? It's probably a different a different thing altogether. But we'll see. But I do think sort of I think there is there's a possibility that perhaps because it's being talked about so much, that employers might sort of panic a little bit and sort of think, oh, we really must be doing something, and then treat it as what I used to call sort of like a tick box exercise. So, oh, we've got to do something, and they'll arrange an activity or something, a wellbeing activity, and then sort of think, all right, that's it, that's done. Hopefully we won't go back to that. That did used to sort of happen before. Hopefully they'll take it more seriously, but it's having the fundamentals in place. They've got to be in place first. You know, it's no use offering different activities, and I include those that we offer, you know, as a company, because if staff don't feel comfortable in taking part, because they're under so much pressure with workloads, time restraint, it just won't work.
Yeah.
It just won't work. So I think for any wellbeing initiatives to work, staff have got to be in a good place to start with. So I think businesses need to look at that, really.
I totally agree. And I remember my first experience of hands-on at work was when I was at BDHT in Bromsgrove at the Housing Association, and we had a whole working group there actually thinking about it. That was like 6 years ago, so very forward thinking. And we had a whole wellbeing day, a lot of other initiatives as well. But it was hands-on at work that came and gave us a massage, and it was just fantastic. For in the middle of the day, we could go and book on and come and have a massage and relax. And you just felt really invigorated by, you know, I think it was about 10 minutes of having that massage, but it just felt so much better to return to your work once you'd had it. So in terms of your packages then, because it says that you do packages, what sort of things do you do?
Well, we obviously had to rethink our business during 2020 with the lockdowns, because we couldn't obviously go on site and work and be in a close contact service. We were obviously one of the last to be able to go back. So we had to think, well, what else can we do? And so I contacted all the therapists on the team and basically said, what else do you do? And it turned out that they're quite a talented bunch, really. They came back and said, well, we could do online desk yoga, we could do mindfulness, we have people who can do laughter yoga, all different sorts of things. And so I was I have to say, I was a bit nervous to start with, for offering these things, because obviously we'd never done anything like that before. But once we tried it a couple of times with clients and the feedback was coming back of, yeah, actually, this works. We like this, it's good. So obviously now we've kept those on. So although we will always primarily be on-site massage, we can now sort of offer a wellbeing days. So instead of a company thinking, oh yeah, okay, well, we'll have the massage and we need to go somewhere else for yoga, or we need to go somewhere else for this, we can usually with what we offer now, be able to sort of say, well, we can do it all under the one umbrella, and we can offer you these things. So so, and we've got ideas as well, sort of. I was thinking along the lines of saying, this sounds a bit cheesy, and this is just a working title, but sort of like happiness days, where you could have say sort of some laughter yoga, to get everybody really sort of happy, what have you, and then I don't know, maybe some massage sessions following that. Or I've got a lovely friend Ruth who does what they call cheeky gong, which is qigong with a fusion of Reiki, and it's such a lovely uplifting thing to do, and maybe have sort of that at the end of the day, so there's all sorts of things that we could really sort of put together, depending on what people want. I mean, I wouldn't say, well, this is package A, B and C, because different companies will want different things, but we could sort of say, well, how about this, how about that, and put things together to suit the client, really.
Yeah, and I agree, because some companies will still have staff that work from home and some will still be in the office. So I think it's good that you can offer both. And in terms of, like you said about laughter yoga, Maggie Thompson, who I know through Milk One Sugar networking, um, transferred her sort of laughter yoga online, and it works fantastically online. So
Yes,
if
I
you,
know. She's great, isn't she, Maggie? She did do a laughter yoga session for us, for one of our clients online, and they absolutely loved it. I mean, I think I was a bit skeptical to think, how can that work online? Because you
yeah,
feed off, the people in the room normally, don't you? But I think, especially with Maggie, her personality is so infectious anyway,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
That it still comes across, and so yes, it still works.
Absolutely, I agree. So if you
Yeah.
have got staff that are working from home or in the office, you could still offer a package that could
Mm.
incorporate an opportunity for everybody in their workforce, really. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of technology today, I
But
guess.
it is, it has changed our attitudes, hasn't it?
Yeah,
And I mean, it's like you and I know with sort of the networking, there's been times in the past, sort of pre, COVID, where I think, oh, I'd love to have gone to that meeting, but I
yeah,
can't because I haven't got the time to travel there, and have to and get back, and with appointments and things. To be able to do it on screen is great. I mean, it's lovely to do physical face-to-face networking, but
yeah,
still to have that option. And as you say, and then that has now sort of migrated to, well, what can we offer in the workplace? Like you say, with the laughter
yeah,
yoga, with the desk yoga, it works so well because you'll have people in the office doing it sort of, on their screens because it's online, but then people working from home are joining in. So
yeah.
you've still got that sort of team sort of spirit as well, which obviously is very important. So.
I agree. And I remember you gave a talk at Worcestershire Business Breakfast Club, and it was during the pandemic, and we was online, and you gave a talk and did some desk yoga with us. And
Yeah.
it was brilliant. It really was brilliant because we was able to stretch, and it reminded us of, how being sedentary all day can affect your health and well-being. So having
Mm.
those stretches when you're in certain positions working from home, it's really beneficial. Well, or at work to be even, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fantastic. I think it's a great idea, either online or face to face, whatever works for an organisation, I guess. Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
moving on then.
Mm.
So we're both sort of middle aged, shall I say.
Oh, go on, say it,
So,
why don't you?
well, I'm just thinking ahead, we know we've got an ageing population. People are living longer because they are investing in their health and well-being. So, what's your views on how people can live well?
um, well, I think sort of, as you say, sort of, I think that the thing with aging is when people say, don't they, that each generation gets younger, and I think it's true in as much as again, it's to do with attitudes, isn't it, and availability of things as well, that people do tend to think about looking after themselves better, say at our age. We won't say what our ages are, Marie, but at our age, but sort of compared to even our parents at a similar
Yeah,
age, and definitely grandparents. I mean, there's a huge, sort of void there. And so I think sort of, people say, oh, being concerned about the aging population, but we've got to start supporting people with their physical and mental health before they're actually classed as that.
yeah,
That's really important. And just encouraging people as much as possible to look after their health with healthy lifestyle habits, to reduce age related illnesses, really, isn't it? Because
yeah,
that's the thing, which I obviously, when I did sort of private client massage as well, I had quite a few elderly clients. And the one thing that came across with all of them is the frustration that in their head, they might be sort of 70, 80 years old, but in their head, they're still 24.
yeah,
But
yeah,
their body won't let them do what they would love to still do,
yeah,
And so, yeah, so it's really sort of instilling that sort of attitude as early on as possible of, to look after your health. on a regular sort of like maintenance basis, if you like. It's like the old sort of car comparison, isn't it, that you get a brand new car and, oh yeah, it's great, and then you run it into the ground, oh, it don't work anymore. Whereas if you have been maintaining it for the years that you've got it, it'll probably go for another 10 years longer, and it's the same thing with our bodies, really, isn't it? So
It's true. That is so true. And I was interviewing Sarah Furniss, who's the Wellbeing coach, and I put the same question to her, and she was saying, it is about investing in your own health and well-being earlier, looking at your diet, because so much of your physical health and your mental health are interlinked.
Oh yes.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. It's investing in yourself earlier. And in terms of aging population and well-being, I mean, I think a lot of people have upskilled so that they are still able to connect with people online. So that I think they're becoming more tech savvy, so they'll use Zoom. So because loneliness can be a huge factor.
Yes, yeah, it can. And I mean, it's good that, well, you'll know this, but Mental Health Awareness Week, which is next week, they're focusing this year, aren't they, on loneliness, because obviously that can have such a huge impact, as you say, on both physical and mental health, and it's a killer. It is a killer, but as you say, sort of, with technology, sort of those who are sort of up with that, there's more opportunities to connect with people, and we ought to be encouraging that. Also, I've thought about this as well in business. I would hope that there isn't sort of so much age discrimination around these days as there used to be, but encouraging businesses to employ older people, because one, that will help older people feel valued, but they've got such a wealth of knowledge and experience as well, that if they then can mentor or coach sort of younger people, they could be experts in certain fields. So it would not only help sort of younger people in the business, but it will just give them that sort of feeling of self-worth and being with other people, just think things like that really as well, to combat loneliness would be great.
Yeah, you make an excellent point there, Kathy, and it's having a mix in the workplace. So you might have somebody who's older, who's been an expert in a certain field, but has a whole wealth of connections that could open doors for younger people, and I think, you make an excellent point. I think it's really good to have a diverse range, and it'll help older people as well to feel valued, to feel that they still have something to give, which will in turn impact on their well-being.
It's having a purpose, isn't it?
Totally.
I mean, I do appreciate that it's not always easy, and if you are somebody who finds it difficult, to socially sort of interact with people, or you don't necessarily have to live on your own, do you, to sort of be lonely? You can be in a huge group and still be lonely, but if you have difficulties, I do appreciate it's not easy, but it just needs people to sort of reach out, really, doesn't it? And sort of just put an extra bit of effort in to sort of think, well, you don't know these people unless you start talking. We've just got to get back into sort of talking to people, haven't we? I mean, just before we started this, I've been emailing a potential client for a job, and we were going back and forth. I thought, oh, this is ridiculous. So I just picked up the phone and said, should we just sort this out? And we both said, we have lost that sort of, not the ability, but the sort of thought of just talk to somebody, sort of thing. And that works whether it's in business or in social, situation.
And you learn so much more about a person as well when you're chatting.
Yes, you do.
So I totally agree. But
that was the one lovely thing about doing private client massage, sort of you know, especially the elderly clients, they've had a life, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just brilliant. And some of them you think, oh, you cheeky so I wouldn't have put you down as you know, saying that or doing that. But it's just getting to know people.
Yeah, it is. It is. So in terms of massage, then you do it in workplaces, but you also go into people's homes. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. That's very good to know.
It's a nice mix.
Yeah, it is. That's brilliant.
Mm,
But I've got a broader question for you now.
go on then.
So in terms of well-being, do you think we've got it right now? You said that, people need to look at it earlier in their life. Do you think we're on the right track?
Yeah, I think we are on the right track. I mean, it is obviously a very broad subject, isn't it? You know, and you could sort of say, well, you know, there could be many improvements, obviously, in social care, healthcare, you know, and it's especially in sort of situations where sort of like public funding's an issue and things like that. And care providers often have their hands tied, obviously, if they don't have funding. So there's always room for sort of improvement. But I think, you know, as a society, I think we are better, I think, at dealing with that and looking after people than perhaps it has been in the past. But there's just so many different dynamics at work, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, NHS problems with not enough staff to cope, and you know, and it's all a chain reaction, isn't it, from there, really? But yeah, I think in general, sort of, you know, there's plenty of good things out there. It's just delivering them, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, I volunteer at Extra Care Longbridge Village, and
Mm.
it's the people that are living there. To me, are really forward thinking. They're over 55s, and a lot of them, are close to my age, and they've
That's a
actually
frightening thing, isn't it?
yeah, but they've had the forefront, if you like, to plan ahead. And they
Mm,
have such an amazing social life, and like one lady lives there, and she had a huge garden in her house, and then she couldn't keep on top of, and she moved into this flat. She still loves doing her pots on a balcony, but she's freed up so much more of her time to sort of socialize with other people, like you said, chat, and
mm,
loneliness that would have been a factor, but since she moved, it's completely transformed her life. So
yeah.
yeah, I think, with the provision of that type of accommodation more,
Mm,
then, it seems to me that we are thinking about the future in terms of society's well-being in the future. And of course, people like you in your business, I mean, you're very forward thinking in terms of offering well-being provisions
mm,
to organisations. So have you noticed that you've obviously, excusing the pandemic if you like, but have you
yeah.
noticed that there's been more of a demand for sort of massages in the workplace and people taking it seriously?
I think that, yeah, think overall, yes, they are. You know, I mean, obviously, sort of before 2020, I mean, it was just skyrocketing, you know, the business, because so many people were asking about it. And then obviously sort of everything went a complete zero. And then it's sort of been building up again. But I have been really encouraged by not only the clients that we had before that have come back on board, you know, and that's whether some of their employers are still working from home or not.
Yeah.
You know, they've adapted to a different way of working, but they also appreciate that they still need to look after the staff. It's just, you know, they may have to change the way they do things. But also all the new inquiries we've had. I mean, I have just done so many quotes over the last sort of couple of months or so that it, you know, it's, I'm thinking, wow, even if we only get a few of those who come on board, you know.
Yeah.
So I think the confidence in business is definitely coming back. it's going to be probably a slow, but I believe a steady recovery.
Yeah.
And definitely health and well-being is higher on that agenda now than it's been before. So yeah, I am very confident that health and well-being will be the buzzword for quite a while yet.
Yeah, yeah.
As businesses realise that, you know, that they have got to support their staff. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you know, that there's individual responsibility, you can't take that away, but you know, if you also know that there's a support network around you, then you know, yeah, I'm pretty sure that the future is going to be pretty good in that way.
Good. We like the positivity. We like that a lot. And there's so many different ways as well in terms of
Yes.
what organisations can do for well-being, because, you know, it could be an on-site massage, it could be sort of interpersonal skills like what we do, or it could be laughter yoga, desk yoga, and you know, it could be, what was that other thing that you talked about?
Oh, cheeky gong. That is brilliant. That is.
Okay. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. You'll have to fill me in a bit more as to what that's all about. But
I
Kathy,
will.
it's been lovely to have you back on with us
Yeah, it's
this
been great to talk to you again on
season.
this.
I wish you every success. It sounds like things are picking up. If people want to um, book you, how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, well, they can either go through the website, which is handsonatwork.co.uk, or they can email me at info@handsonatwork.co.uk, or give me a ring. All my details are on the website.
Fabulous. Like you said, pick up the phone and have a good
Yes,
chat.
have a chat. Come and chat to me. I like to have a good natter.
Lovely. It's been a pleasure, Kathy. Thank you so much.
And you. Thanks, Marie.
Speak to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.